I am joined by the lovely Iris Bahr,
Hi.
actress, comedian, writer, director, phenom, global sensation. Let's jump right into it. Speak about the events of October 7th, how they kind of affected you personally, and the aftermath. And now you're in New York with your
Yes.
son, and you're living through the kind of the aftermath and the anti-Semitism that followed. As a Jewish actress in Hollywood and a pro-Israel, it might be an isolating place to be, perhaps. Just kind of give us a little background and discuss this current
Yeah.
situation.
Well, thank you for having me, Dean. October 7th, I was in Tel Aviv in my crumbling Bauhaus apartment near Rothschild, and I was meditating in the morning. My son was actually camping on the beach with his dad in Ashkelon, and the siren started. I think it was 6:30 a.m. and kind of really, as like for everybody, came out of the blue. We're not expecting it, and I don't have a mamad or miklat, and my stairwell is also crumbling. So I went to the other building, but then I saw in the Picud Orif that there were really rocket barrages everywhere. And then I saw that there were a lot in Ashkelon, and then I, tried to reach my son, who never answers his cell phone. Unlike other kids that are glued to their screen, my son never answers his cell phone, and I was panicking. And then started hearing about the terrorists and seeing the videos. And I was hearing this woman on the radio say that there were mechablim outside her house, and this is when the beginning, the first inklings of what was happening was going on. And my son and his dad and a group of kids and other parents were stranded there on the beach. And I said, please, the minute I started hearing about the shooters, I'm like, park the cars in a circle around the kids. And they were just there. They were afraid to drive through the rockets. And I was like, forget the rockets, just get out of there. And after 4 hours, they finally got in the car and drove up. And this was after numerous panic attacks on my part. And obviously very scary. And compared to what other people are going through, obviously not remotely as horrible, but still very intense. And now I'm in New York. I'm starting rehearsals on a play in about a month, and the vibe here it's been dark. I mean, it's been sad. It's so funny. People in Israel are calling me, going, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute, you're asking me if I'm okay? Are you guys okay?" Right? It's always funny how everyone thinks that the other side is going through more. Also, what's on the news, and all my friends with kids in the army, and I'm very active in the hostage forum here, and the tragedy of the hostages. But the vibe here is dark. And I was staying right by the UN, and every morning I'd wake up, and the kidnapped hostage posters were ripped on the ground, and there was like the tragedy of competing sympathies, and obviously once the campaign in Gaza started, there were memorials for children in Gaza, and it's just heartbreaking that this is these are not teams. I always knew there was anti-Semitism, but the degree of shock of obviously coming to the surface, but the exuberance and the joy post October 7th was so disturbing. And now the horror of the omissions of the denial of the tragedy that happened, by the UN and UN women, obviously, and the double standard, the hypocrisy, all of it. I mean, I'm not the first one to be ranting about this, but you see the protest on the street, and there's a violent undertone and anger there that's intimidating and misguided, obviously, and tragic. Yeah, so it's definitely felt. There's always security around synagogues, right? There's no security around other places of worship. So it's nothing new. But even yesterday at the event we went to in Battery Park for the hostages, you have the cops in full combat gear, gearing up for the worst. And it's sad because we're all mourning here.
Yeah.
We're all mourning.